Hello gamers, Matt Lemke here with your gamer goggles and another Off the Palette. This Off the Palette features Alkemy's Deacon Degarius. And I'm going to start by painting his skin a little bit on the green side because I like to do that. It adds a nice level of depth to the flesh tone, and I don't like this brush, but that's life. And off the palette, I try and paint my figures in about 30 minutes. While talking to you, because it helps me paint, believe it or not. And I'm going to go ahead and change my brush, because this brush is giving me a fit. Yep. I'll be back in a second. Now, I don't know why I do the green the way I do the green on the skin. I just know that the hot lead guy said that it's a classic technique, so I started applying it, and I kind of like what it does. Being European, there's going to be a lot of brown on this model because he's wearing traditional robes. So we're going to start hitting that right now. Try and get this figure done in about 30 minutes. That's my target for these guys usually. Now, I used a Krylon primer for this, and it seems to be the pigment seems to be running off, but that's okay because it's running off. The brown paint's sticking to the high spots. That'll work to our favor. Come back over it with a little bit thicker coat. Maybe add some retardant to it so it can spread it a little bit better. Again, this is an Alkemy figure. Alkemy has recently been purchased by Studio 38. As you can see, these figures get painted fairly easily. I am currently using a Vallejo paint because I still own them. I'm probably going to move over to some Reapers because they're easier to get in my local area. I've had good luck with Vallejos in the past. There's nothing wrong with the Vallejo paint. I'm not, I just don't like ordering paint. I like to pick it up at the local store. I'll order anything else if I can't find it, if I really want to use it. But too many things can happen to paint in transit. You can pack it wrong, go in the air, explode. He's got a little necklace on. I'm trying not to hit that. I'm going to. Because, well, I'm not the world's best painter. I'm far from it. I do have a goal of being able to paint a figure to tabletop quality in 10 minutes. Well, okay. I can already paint a figure to tabletop quality in 10 minutes. To almost professional quality in 10 minutes. And if you're curious as to what that means, basically it means if you're getting paid to paint, you're professional. There is such a wide variance on what professional painters are, and I have come to the conclusion that there's a professional painter and there's an expert painter. A professional painter is the guy who sells his stuff on eBay and gets almost the cost of the model for his or her money, and an expert painter gets 10 times the cost of the model. And frankly, if you're not willing to pay the cost of a model for the paint job, so for example, if you buy a $15 figure and you want it painted, expect to pay at least $15 or paint it yourself. Because frankly, you're insulting those people that are painting for you. Unless of course they can't paint, then ask somebody else. I can't wait to play this game. We should have a demo up in a day or two. These figures have a lot of high spots. This is going to be a good figure for washing and dry brushing techniques. So maybe I'll get my hairdryer out. We'll speed things up a little bit today. I'm certainly not going to be able to do this in a half an hour if I wash and dry brush multiple layers of brown on this figure. But I think this is a box, so I'm going to go ahead and paint it brown too. Hit it with a dry brush here in a little bit because it's like his scroll case, big scroll case that he uses as a chair too. I need to put a rock on his base. And there is a lot of brown on him. I'm going to give him gray hair, I think, to add a little bit more color to him. He's holding the scroll. We're going to work on the scroll next. I'm going to hit it with the brown, and then I'm going to come back and hit it pretty quick with the... There's another scroll there. I'm going to use Menoth white after I hit the scrolls. Again, I'm just base coating everything, basically. Eventually I want to work my way into dry brushing and blending. I haven't done a lot of blending yet. Really, actually haven't done any. I tried it once. I think it was an epic failure. So, I'm rebuilding my desires to do it. And now I'm going to start working on the scroll. And I'm actually going to put some calligraphy on the scroll. Well, it's going to look like it. It's not going to look like it. There's the brown base. The scroll. Or the proclamation that he's announcing. There's some brown there to hit. He reminds me of Friar type of guy, so I'm gonna work on that. For the next step, I'm gonna take some dark gray, if I can find it. And I'm going to dry brush his hair. Pretty much get that done and out of the way so I can start doing some washes. Probably wash it with a brown. Because there's so much brown in the model. I'm just going to go ahead and play off that. Starting to look like a figure already. Now I'm going to take a little bit of P3's Menoth base. I'm going to kind of pause this for a minute. I'm back. I'm going to hit his skin now with some dark flesh tone and work them up from there. Obviously I don't need a lot. Again, he's starting to look like a human being instead of a piece of plastic. Yeah, this is now, if I had it, I would have used gray on this model because there's so many earth tones that he has, that he's using. See, he's coming to life. The green really accents him a lot. Looks like, I thought I saw I missed. Here, I missed all those. Kind of a little bit of a blend with my paint. I'm told that if I put ammonia in this, it will work. I haven't tried it. And now I'm going to move on to the parchment. Oops, didn't shake it up. Shake up some of P3's paint. Just enough to dry brush with. Because that's all I'm going to do to this real quick. Well, I mean, I'm going to kind of base it, but I'm going to spread it pretty thin. Don't want to see my brush marks. Still a little bit wet down there. Back. At the other side. It's going on pretty quick. Get these scrolls down here. Oops, sorry about that. Where is it? Hit it again. So I really kind of can't wait to play this game. And I don't say that too often about games. I think most game companies have messed up their games. Now I'm going to add a little bit of Beastie Brown to the dark flesh tone because I have it on the table. And I'm going to go back over his skin. And then the next step is going to be a little bit of white. And then I'm going to start working on shading out the difference in shades on the robes. There's actually going to be a lot of work to do on the robe. And the first one, I'm going to take some charred brown, about 2 or 3 drops, and add a drop of yellow sand from Vallejo. And mix those two together. So, I don't think that Beastie Brown did anything. They're too close. I just add a drop of the sand. Kind of stay with that human type of look, and eventually I'm going to work my way up to Elf. Elf will be the next one, I think. Well, actually I need another skin, so I'm not going to do this. I don't like the way that is. So we're going to start working on this robe right away. my little water. And we're just gonna kind of work on dry brushing this up. Pretty much wherever the brush hits the high spots, that's what's going to get the color. And I'm not going to worry too much about whether how sloppy I get, because I'm going to wash this real quick with a brown wash from the charred brown. I might even add a little bit of black to it to make it darker. And then I'm going to let it dry. Come back to it. Do some more. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, I want the lighter shade, or darker I should say, not lighter, to be on the bottom. And then I'm going to work my way up to the higher spots. They're going to be almost yellow. Starting to look like a model already. A finished model, I mean. Got a long way to go from being finished. You can even dry brush the spots over. This one. And you can probably barely tell that is doing the work it's supposed to be doing. I want more brown in here, so I'm going to go back to this charred brown real quick. Mix in some more paint. Hit some of these spots again, real quick. So it's snowing here. Which is okay by me. I could deal with snow. Those spots. Back, grab some more paint. Dry it off a little bit. Like that. those spots that are showing. Dry brush a little bit. Make it look like a bench type thingy. Now I'm going to go back to his skin. I will be right back. I'm going to grab some elf skin tone. I'm going to dry brush his skin a little bit. All those different layers of colors are going to blend pretty effectively with the dry brush, because it's just a small amount of paint. A little bit more. Maybe finish him up with this. Get his hand there. Roll it over, get his hand there. You shouldn't be intimidated by painting, because you're only going to get better, and you're only going to get your stuff done if you do it. It's high spot. Now he's starting to look like a person. His hand might need a little bit more there. And we'll go back to his hair. I chose the ghost gray for the next level. The next level of dry brush. We're going to get that done and out of the way pretty much. Then I'm going to do a couple of washes. Maybe grab the hair dryer. Move it back to the middle for you. The aging friar that he is. Look at that. Oh, a little bit more flushed. There. Yeah. Now, I need to make a wash with the charred brown. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. The idea behind the wash is to blend the dry brush with the other paint around it. Stir around that. Continue my wash. Oh, that was off the one color. So it kind of, well, it's still wet, so you really kind of can't tell how it pulls those colors back together. But it blends them together. You can kind of see how it works. With the washes. What I'm not going to wash is his case. I'm going to try and get some ink and put black lines in there to really make the grain predominant. There. Next step, I'm going to take some skull white or dead white, depending on what paint you're using, which paint line, and I'm going to dry brush the parchments. If it wants to cooperate, but it doesn't. My white never wants to cooperate. And when it does, it cooperates too well. So just kind of hit it real quick. Like this. Real lightly. We want the browns and stuff to blend through the back of it. Make that paper look aged. Take off the excess. Oops, I hit his hand. It's okay. I'll come back and I'll fix that. Hit the back side if you want. You don't have to. Maybe I'll hit this with a dry brush of sand right down the middle to give it more of a aged yellowish type of look. Hit these back here. These are effectively done. And back here, they'll need a wash or maybe some painted on highlights. But like I said, I'm not a master painter. I'm just some guy who enjoys the hobbies. Well, I actually enjoy the game more than I enjoy the hobby. I think painting's a necessary evil. You don't need to paint your stuff if you don't want to, it's my opinion. It's your stuff. But I do, because I think it looks better on the table, and making something look better on the table, in my opinion, makes the game more enjoyable. I will not argue that painted stuff doesn't look good on the table. I will argue that you don't need to paint it. Hands down, you take a black primed model and sit it next to a painted model, and obviously the painted model looks better. Even if it's only 3 colors, it looks better. So now we're moving up to our dry brush, and we're going to hit pretty much just top 2/3 of this model now. And then we'll come back and we'll hit it with another wash pretty quick. This is a very light dry brush. You want your brush to be really dry. Pretty much just put the pigments on this model now. And you barely want to touch it. This is actually a really good learning model for dry brushing, because there's a lot of crevices and valleys to get the high spots on. There's a lot. It's really nice. Like this. A little bit more paint. I'll probably do one more wash on this guy. And one more shade. Well, actually, two more washes. One more shade of dry brush after this. I should probably paint that white. Again, you want to hit the highest spots of the model because those are the spots where the sunlight hits and kind of fades out the colors. So, back over here, work this a little bit. How's that looking? Starting to look like a model. Now, with that being said and done, I am going to take a little bit of that sandy yellow and really lightly, or as lightly as I can, I'm going to attempt to dry brush a little bit of the corner here. And here, just to give it a little bit more accent on color. Same thing here. Same thing here. Now when I come back and I give this a wash with my black ink or whatever I do black, there will be more natural colors. So now I'm going to do another brown wash. Blend these colors in a little bit better. And just by the nature of the paint being thinner, it's going to run down into those crevices, like this one right here that I'm painting. I don't know how well you can, but you'll be able to see that better. My TV's not as good as my camera is, so you'll be able to see that better. And it'll run into the spots and darken them, and help blend the higher spots with the browns around it. Which you can probably see it pretty good right there. We'll do that here real quick. Just a real rough one. And I don't see that's too much there, so I'm going to brush some of that out. That'll never dry. Well, it'll dry. Just take that out. And, you know, like see right here, you can just keep going over this. Maybe a little bit of a darker, a little bit thicker maybe. Let's just hit this real quick with some thinned out charred brown to cut that a little bit. Again, I got another big blotch of paint here and wash. I'll just take a little bit of water with my brush and brush that out a little bit more. That's really white. So now I'm going to take my brush, dip it in some water, take a little bit of sand, of that sandy yellow, and I'm going to give it a real quick wash. But I want it to be a little bit yellow. That's probably too much of it. So we're going to take this, we're really going to wet that down a little bit. Really going to work it. And on the back side. And we'll see how that dries. Now, I got some paint in there. Some of the wash. I'm just going to take some charred brown right now, right away. Keep that nice and clean. I want that accent mark there. Now we're going to take the elf skin tone again. We're going to add a drop of dead white to it for the next layer of dry brush. And we're going to mix it up. We're really going to shoot this time only to hit the high spots. But we'll see how that goes. Get your brush good and dry. Drier than mine was. Make sure you hit his hands. Don't forget those, they're important. I've been known to do that a few times. Kind of looks like a human being. Now, I'm going to grab my hammered copper. No, I'm going to use brass. To a point where I want to start finishing up a little bit. He's got little nameplates here that I want to hit just lightly. Adds another level of color to the model. And I'm going to grab a drop of black and probably 3 drops of water. I'm going to do a wash on his hair, and just his hair. I was going to think maybe a black wash on his skin. But yeah, I just want to hit his hair, maybe a couple other select spots. I'm going to go ahead and hit this. See if I can get those dark spots right here. And real quick. Like this. Like this. Darken those lines up a little bit. Go down that one. And I'm going to darken the wash with some, well, I'm going to add some brown to it this time. And I'm going to hit the rest of the bottom third of the bottle. Just a drop or two. Boom. Mix it up. Now I'm just going to hit the bottom portion of this model with my wash. And maybe some high spots where it should be really dark. But what I want to do is I want to darken up the bottom. And maybe inside his little roby thing in here. Because a sleeve. This one too. Maybe bump it a little bit. Without sure. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe this one right here. The darts. That should definitely be darts. That should definitely. And now I'm going to add a drop of the white to the sand yellow, and I'm going to use it as my next dry brush level. For the rose. This will probably be my last. I might just go dead white on some of it. This is probably my last dry brush. Just the high spots again. This time even less than last time. Oops. It's almost a yellow now, but that's okay because it's going to blend in a good bit. Pretty much, that's about it. That's all I'm going to hit on the model. Just want the spots that are highest up on them to be hit. Tops of his shoulders maybe, top of his alb. His hood. I am going to go ahead and do something else now. Because now that I've seen paint on him, he has a little tunic thing right here. You can see it now that he's been highlighted and stuff. On the back portion, I'm going to paint that. This yellow. I think that'll help make the model pop. And then I'm going to do my dry brush color back again. And I'm going to hit a couple more spots that are pretty high. A couple of spots here that are high. Maybe here. Should have done it the other way. That was a brush boo-boo. But that's okay, we can fix it. I think I need a little bit of highlight in here. Fix that right away. Best I can. Just like that. We can add a little bit more color in. Pretty much just like that. This guy's about done. I think he needs a little more color here. Just a little bit of dead white maybe to replace some of his skin wash. Really just like on the tip of his nose, maybe the tip of his forehead. Couple of spots maybe. His cheekbone where it's raised. Forehead a little bit. There's almost nothing on my brush. Maybe we'll get some more. That's how you paint the figure in, oh, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes. Maybe hit the corners here a little bit with some white. Make them look tattered a little bit more. Especially after you did that wash. Well, I'm not done with this guy. Hit these edges. Hit this edge a little bit better. Just like that. Hit this high spot. Hit this high spot. Be careful on this edge. That's that. Pretty much done figure. I want to get some dark flesh tone out now. Well, skin wash actually, dark skin wash. I'll wash his face. Maybe hit him again with the dead white. We'll see. There it is. Get my skin wash out. I like to thin my skin wash a little bit. I'm using Valeo's skin wash right now. It's pretty good. I like it. I think the best skin wash I've ever used is actually Citadel's. I don't get it that frequently because nobody around here carries Citadel paints. And I really like it. I'm actually getting in the habit of making my own washes though. Like this one's pretty good. It's decent. Basically, I add 1 drop to it. See, it really pulls out all those colors again. It has a little bit of a red tint to it. Now, I'm not going to do his eyes now because, well, he's got to dry effectively. I can do a couple other things. I can thin down some black paint, and actually I need to touch this part up here. And I'm going to give that a wash. I don't like the color on there. It's awfully. This is awfully light, so we're going to darken it up a little bit. With a little bit of a wash. A lot of times when I do brown, I'll wash the whole model in brown. I'm going to go back over this model with the charred brown wash here in a minute. But before I do that, I want to do some lining. There's a couple spots that I think should be darkened up. This should be darker. That should probably just use a little bit of black paint. It should be dark. This section right here should be dark. You just take your thinned out black and run that line in there. Or if you have black ink, you just use black ink. Oh, I gotta do that too. Where's my brass? Since I already have the brass out, I'm gonna go ahead and use the brass on his necklace. You gotta be very careful with it because it's not very shallow. And then I'm gonna have to come back over it and hit that with some gold. A couple more spots that should be lined. I think that this spot right here should be pretty dark. This part here should be pretty dark. This spot here. That's pretty much it. You pretty much have a finished figure. I'm happy with him. Need to paint his eyes. Do a little bit of dead white with that. Take my brush and get it to a point as much as I can. I'm not very good at doing eyes, so bear with me. I need to practice this part. This side is going to be tougher, it's smaller. And the hard part is going to be dotting it. Give it a little black dot. Now, there's a little bit too much white right there, so I'm going to hit it real quick. Try and blend that back in together. Which I'm going to have to let it dry and pretty much hit that with wash again. Hardest part is doing the little black dot, which I have to wait for the paint to dry. I'm going to attempt to line this right over here with black paint. I've never attempted that way. I've always used ink. Looks like it did okay. I'm going to go ahead and maybe I'm going to line this row. I think there's a couple spots that should be lined. Which should be like right here. A bit definition to it. Looks a little sharper, crisper. You know, while I'm at, I might as well put a little dot in the corner side. He's a little cross-eyed, but that's okay. He has a dot. That's better than I do for a lot of my figures. At the table, on the table, he actually looks like he's got eyes. Oops. On the table, he looks like he's got eyes. You hold him up close, well, he's not so perfect. I think this is a little too... And there you have it. One done. Friar. Well, he's not really friar. He's not really done yet. I'm going to grab... You can attempt to paint on this. I don't think I can do that. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to show you how I would cheat if I was a cheater. I'm the world's greatest cheater when it comes to cheating. But only when it comes to cheating, because I'm a cheater. Hence, you should never play a miniatures game with me because I'm a cheater. Haha! I'm a liar, too. Because I'm not a cheater. I play fair. Sharpie? Ta-da! We need to give them a little bit more wash. Blend this back in. Being really careful not to hit his eyes because I spent a lot of effort on his eyes. So, try and blend it back in. You got a little too much black in that. Pull it off a little bit. There you have it. Deacon. Oh, I forgot his name. But it's the Deacon. Pretty much a done Deacon. I see that I could use a little bit more brass back here. Trying really careful not to ruin the woodwork. A little bit more there. Seems like he's missing something. I should dip him in varnish. He's a dark model. Maybe I don't know. I kind of like it. He's not super special, but I have something I don't usually have, and it's 2 eyes with dots. And I can usually do the whites. Probably, I mean, he's a little cross-eyed, but I'm not perfect. So a little bit of practice. Fix this up a little bit. Because that's kind of awful looking. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe the wash will do it. A little bit more wash. Pull this in. Good look at this guy. And say, hey, this was an Off the Palette with Matt Lemke, with Deacon Degarius.